Time now to discuss the earnings of vguard. We have with us Mr. Sudarshan Kasturi joining us from the company to talk to us about the outlook. Sudarshan, hi, thank you so much for making time and speaking with us. Well, the top line growth continues to be in high single digits. What's the demand outlook looking like on the ground? Because what we want to understand is, could growth be double digit in FY24 now?
There is some effect on inflation on consumer demand. Therefore, there is a little bit of slowness that we are observing. It is across, not particularly limited to rural as such, but it's more pronounced at the mass and mid-market segments. And we expect it to continue during the current quarter as well. But nevertheless, despite that, I think some growth will come. Fairly decent performance in terms of top line in the year that's gone by. Although we see some ups and downs and some bit of slowness on the demand front, I expect the growth trajectory to continue. I think we should see a strong double-digit growth coming in the current year also.
All right. Mr. Kasturi, in Q3, you had spoken about achieving pre-COVID level margins over the next 2 quarters. Do you think that double-digit margins will be achievable in Q1 of FY24?
The year that went by, FY23, has been a difficult one from a margin perspective. But the good thing is, as we went through Q4, we find that the margins have started to improve. It's coming back. Input costs have been fairly stable, and then the pricing gap that existed is reducing. So we've seen some margin improvements happening in Q4. We expect further improvements to happen in Q1. And I think over the next few quarters, we will get back to what the pre-COVID margins were.
No, so just to get that bit right, so are you saying that margins will be back to pre-COVID level in the next few quarters, or it's going to happen only in the second half of the year?
Yes, I would think so. By Q2, I think margins should have recovered.
Now, the consumer electrical segment performance has been subdued over the past few quarters. What do you think is keeping demand sluggish, and when can we see a pickup?
Yeah, relatively speaking, our electrical segment has shown a lower growth. For us, growth has been largely driven by consumer durables and electronics. Our wires business has just shown about a moderate growth. So there is real estate demand. There is demand from real estate, but I think the other 2 segments have done better.
Well, the company also seems to be, getting impacted with respect to the high cost inventory, which is continued to be on the books. Of course, it happened from a Q3 phenomenon. But have you managed to liquidate that inventory, and what's the status now?
Yes, the margins in Q4 have improved, and that's the result of the lower priced inventory reflecting in our consumption. We were carrying high cost inventory at some point, but those have got consumed, and the inventory levels today are lower.
Right, and what is the target contribution for the company from the non-southern markets over the next few years?
Our business from non-south has done pretty well. For FY23, we're getting about 45% of our turnover from non-south markets. In another couple of years, I think we should reach 50% levels.
Okay, expecting that 50% level, but it was also the first quarter wherein we saw the inclusion of Sunflame acquisition as well, right? What's the growth trajectory been like? What are you expecting going forward?
I mean, Sunflame as an acquisition is a very good strategic fit for us. And we have big plans for Sunflame as a brand. There are many growth avenues possible, and it's going to be it's definitely a high priority for us to get the Sunflame business into a sort of much bigger business.
This is the first quarter with the inclusion of Sun. Just moving right on, if you could just tell us also your plans for expansion for Sunflame in the southern market and for e-commerce.
They are among the most promising growth avenues. Sunflame doesn't have much of a presence in South or e-com. They will definitely be priorities for us.
Okay, so that was about the Sunflame acquisition, but what's the capex plan for the next couple of years?
No, we're going to continue investing into manufacturing capacities. We have a couple of more plants coming up in FY24. So our current levels of capex will continue.
All right, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining in and giving us a view on how things are shaping up at vguard.